Hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. Hope you are doing well. Did you work from home this week? I've been working from home a couple weeks now and doing okay. Missing the office, missing people. But yeah, been working through it. Excited about tonight. We are announcing the winner of UX Design Contest 12. I want to take a moment. I got so flustered, like literally minutes before going live here, like open up my broadcasting software, and sure enough, my webcam is all funky. It's like this tiny little square, and I'm like, ah. The sad thing is, I feel like that's pretty much every time. Like, take deep breaths, start getting set up, start getting the tabs ready, start getting the different software programs open, feeling good, and then there's a monkey wrench. There's very few experiences that I have in my week where there's this, time that something's gonna happen and then something doesn't work. Good times. Anyways, happy to be here with you today. And let's go ahead. I'm gonna get an incognito window open with Twitter because I want to plug on Twitter here. Let's tweet. Let's say we're about to announce the winner of UXDC 12. Join us live on... Gotta write out this long link. This is what I should make a shortcut for. Let's add that to the notes. If I think of it, we'll create a shortcut so I can easily write this link and also avoid messing up. Okay, let's see. Can we get a drum roll? Good enough. Alrighty. Let's give people a minute or two to come in, and then we'll do the reveal. You know what I should do? I should retweet it because I have the bigger audience. Silly me, didn't start oh, come on, let's see. Nope, not this one. This one. Like it. Retweet. Short and sweet. Hey, Kelly. Happy Thursday. While we're giving people a couple minutes to join us for the announcement, I'm going to do a quick plug. I'm so distracted suddenly. What was I saying? I want to do a quick plug as we're waiting for people to come in. And the plug is My team is hiring. Yay! So we're looking for another senior product designer to join us. Right now we're 2 people, and we've got, oh man, engineers are growing. We just hired another engineer. He joined the team from Australia, so we've got a mostly San Francisco, some Seattle, and some distributed Latvia and Australia now. As far as engineers go, we got a fantastic new PM that's working with the venture team. Just had a chat with her this afternoon. Super excited. And if you're interested, if this sounds like something you want to learn more about, you want to check out the post, see if it's something that feels like a good match for your skill set and interest. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in there. If you think you might be a good fit, feel welcome to DM me on Twitter or email me or whatever's easy for you to contact me. Let me know, and I'll be happy to take a look at your profile and see if I think you're a good fit too, and pass you along. Kelly asks, are we looking for UX interns? Not right now, Kelly. That's interesting. I think that's a really good topic that the team should discuss soon. What's our plan? Do we want to work on a program for interns? That's great. You say you're a student learning UX, Kelly. I'm curious, where are you learning? I know there's a lot of different ways to learn UX these days, which is super exciting. We've got, university courses and boot camps and online courses and just rolling up your sleeves and even going to the library and reading books and applying things. Like, so many fabulous paths, I think, to UX. I'm always curious to find out what people are doing and hear about new ones. All right. I think we've given people enough time. Yes? Shall we do this? All right. First, set context. UX design contest. Boom, there's the link. So, if we look at, oh man, that looks horrible. I'm just noticing little nits. All right. Can't help but do that when you're looking at something that you've spent time on, huh? UX design contest, the contest number 12 that we launched in February on Valentine's Day, right? Improving the UX of a website or app you love. We ended it at the end of the month, and now it's my great pleasure to announce the winners. And the way that I'll do it is through a fun, hopefully it's fun, little reveal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the case study from the winning entry, and then we can check it out. All right, this part's like slightly less elegant. Here we go. Should see it shimmering up. Come on. Shimmy up. Shimmy up. Shimmy up. Boom. 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 There we go. All right. The win. It's really fun. We have 2 winners. It was a team winner for this contest. It was Niharika Indivar and Hritika Bomik. I hope I'm pronouncing those correctly. It's my best first shot. If you have corrections, let me know. But they produced this awesome project around Costco, and I thought it was super cool because Costco is one of those sites. They have a very, very strong brick and mortar retail presence, and oh, by the way, they also have a website, right? And to think of the opportunity that Costco has in investing on the website, right? For online, especially these days, right? Where people are trying to socially distance and avoid places with large gatherings, right? Like the mob inside Costco. So this is great. So I'm going to post my claps in chat. I don't know if I have do I have a clap sound effect? I'm gonna do my clap sound effect. I'm gonna have to do real claps because I don't have my clap sound effect queued up. Just imagine that times 10. So let's go through this case study, and I want to call out some things I think are great and I love, and then also let's think about what feedback we can give to the winners, Ritika and Niharika, about how they can push this. There they are. How they can push this case study even further, and maybe some ideas for their project. Okay? All right. So, first off, love the cover image. They found the perfect icon as well, although it's kind of blending in now. I feel like at different resolutions, it shows up even better. Starting from the title, right? They're focusing on redesigning the search and navigation experience. They're going for frictionless. I think this is good. Like, how can it be even better? Focusing on that impact. So, for example, are you trying to increase purchases, increase orders, successful orders, right? I think it's reasonable to assume that if people are able to get through faster and more easily, right, with less friction, that's going to translate into more successfully completed purchase experiences. Okay. Love a summary at the top. Great. Gives it some context. So basically 12 days. They improvised, designed, and tested the overall search and navigation experience through a user-centric design thinking approach. Cool. So they mentioned they started off for this contest. Niharika was the one who came up with the idea of redesigning Costco website, right? And it was interesting, kind of started with her thinking about, I wonder why we always go to the shop and get stuff when she has the potential to do it online, right? Great. Oh, interesting. Here's a tool I didn't even know that existed. They used a website called ClickUp to make their life easier. Let's go ahead and just take a peek at what ClickUp is. Artificial intelligence, work faster than humanly possible. Coming soon. So do they have early access to this? Interesting. All right, so they started with a problem. That's a good place to start, right? Context. Why does this project exist? So first they talk about customers prefer going in-store rather than using the online platform. Now, this on itself doesn't really sound like a problem, right? However, then it goes into the next part, right? They spend a lot of time searching for various products on the platform. So I think there are some inherent problems that are wrapped up into this, right? One, potentially things like in-store, right? If you have to go to a physical store, there's all sorts of like costs involved in that. Time, transportation, the experience of being in the store, maybe waiting, maybe more time, other stuff, right? They experience a lot of friction while using application due to poor navigation. So they're calling out basically some general areas. I think these problems are good in that they highlight some things that, yes, it's obvious and you don't really need a lot of convincing to say, hey, here's what's going on. How might these be even stronger? I think one of the things could be using an image or a GIF, an animation, to show some of this. So maybe you could show an example of the navigation issue, like how it's confusing or how it slows people down. I think that could be really helpful. I think also even the framework or the language that you're using for problems, if you can talk about what people can't do, or if you can talk about what people are frustrated by or confused by, right? People waste, X number of minutes going through the shopping flow because it's confusing. Confusing navigation results in abandoning carts and people just going into the store because it's easier than the website, right? Also, calling out, this is really great. So it's tackling both, it's thinking about both the user's problem and the business problem. So this one, I think they actually did a pretty nice job on. I think they looked into some data and found that the online website only accounts for 4% of Costco's business revenue. So that seems like a really, really tiny piece of what Costco is doing, with the opportunity to do even potentially small things that might increase that, single or double digits, right? To increase online shopping at Costco. Another business problem, maybe customers are not happy using an online platform. It really depends, right? I think this one's maybe tricky, and maybe they're kind of extrapolating out that because so few transactions are through the online platform, that people aren't happy using it. This is number one, is the very clear business problem. Number two actually feels more like a customer problem. But I think maybe what Hritika and Niharika are getting at is business like loyalty or trust, right, is influenced by their experience. So if someone has a really frustrating time through the website, that could lead to, negative feelings, lack of loyalty, or loss of trust with Costco, right? So I think that's maybe the business problem that they're thinking about. Cool, look at these two fine people here. They mentioned they're self-taught UX designers. They're currently pursuing certification courses. Excellent. So this is fantastic. These are exactly the kind of people who I'm trying to serve by doing this UX design contest. I really want to help people who are starting out, who, might benefit from a little bit of motivation and kind of a specially scoped project to invest in to exercise their skills. And so I'm really happy to see them working on their certification courses and diving in and doing some of this work. I also like the use of this kind of mashup or collage of images showing how they're working. This is pretty cool. So this lets me know that, hey, both of these women can probably work remotely fairly easily, and they're finding ways to collaborate. That's pretty powerful. I see some kind of like almost journey mapping tool stuff. We've got like video chat going on, and then I think these are Notion. I think they're using comments in Notion to track some of the work. They also identified some self-learning goals, tools. Whoops. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to point out. Like another low-hanging fruit, I think, for this case study is to translate areas where they've used images, which I'm curious to know what they used to create the images. Maybe Sketch, because I see that as one of their design tools. But even getting this stuff right into Notion. Notion is really powerful for doing this kind of thing. It's probably not going to let them make this elegant layout, but they would be able to add links to all these things: Sketch, Notion, ClickUp, SurveyMonkey. These are great. So I'd say that's another low-hanging fruit. Adding links can help your case study be even more valuable to people who are reading it. All right, their action plan. They did a daily design scrum. They're applying kind of a lean UX methodology. They're planning some tasks and splitting up work based on people's expertise and learning goals. And they're communicating a lot to keep each other updated. Those sound fantastic. They came up with a little success matrix. They're looking at how are they defining success. Increased percentile of customers who will go for the proposed design. So basically preference, right? This kind of preference signal. Comparatively less time in finding a product, right? So this is like time on task. And then basically task success, right? Easy movement during site navigation. So the language here is a little bit awkward, but they're totally, it's totally wonderful that they're thinking about this success thing. And these are definitely things that they can measure. You don't need some fancy tools. You don't need a research team. Like, they can go out and measure these kinds of things. And these things are definitely the kinds of signals that help give you confidence in moving forward in a specific design direction. All right, so next they've got their design process. I will flag this, like, calling out a specific design process for me is like a huge flag that just says like, I'm a really junior designer. And that's not necessarily like good or bad depending on what your goals are and how you want to present yourself and be perceived. I will say that if you're trying to present yourself as someone with more experience, I would ditch talking about the design process and just focus on showing the design process and actually diving in and talking about what work you did. Kyle's humming. I'm not sure what he's thinking. What's on your mind, Kyle? All right, so they got some steps here. They're kind of splitting up some tasks. It's great. Right, they're talking about the different things they're going to do. Quick Gantt chart for some product planning. Boom. Great. This tells me they've kind of dived in. They're doing some work. I see enough evidence here to say like, cool. They're like using some modern tools. Seems like they're fairly organized, like maybe super organized, and planning this thing out and able to hit a deadline. And I know that they did achieve their deadline. So this is already like success in terms of starting and finishing a project with all that planning. I see, Kyle. Yeah, showing is at a different level than like telling and talking about it. So yeah, if you don't need it, I'd say cut it. Content survey. So they've before they kicked off the design process, they did a little bit of like market research, right? So they included these links. We're not going to go look at these links, but simply them having these links here to me is a signal that, hey, they did some research. Like, I see Costco business model. I see Costco business model. 4-week MBA, Owler. Cool. I don't know what Owler is, but the fact that this is like an MBA program, MBA programs have lots of case studies. Like, at a glance, these are things that I find credible. And I think they're probably the right kinds of sources where they found some information. They highlight some of that information here about the company. I'm not super interested in like this stuff, but I think, for me, I know Costco. Like, I'm familiar with Costco. If someone wasn't, this kind of context could be helpful. I'd say something that's really nice about Notion that they could consider for their case study is using toggles. Thinking about, are there sections that might be beneficial to collapse by default, but allow people to like go in if they're interested? So we're going to skip past this stuff. Empathizing. So they do use the toggle pattern here, which I think is great, right? It came up, they had some goals. They wanted to identify like who are Costco website users, right? Is it literally just, everyone? Are there any key segments that they can identify? They also look into the goals, kind of better understanding when do people use the website, shop on the website, and why, as well as pain points, which is great. And then it looks like also some general behavior. So not looking at Costco specifically, but when do you do shopping online in general, which I think is interesting because they may gather some insights that help them think about the Costco shopping differently. They did an online survey. The survey was live for 5 days. They got 10 responses. Cool. For this kind of project, like just getting it out there, I think there's a few things. Maybe this is their complete survey question. How often do you use Costco website? What's your age? What do you usually order from Costco? So yeah, I mean, I'd say to me, this really shows like they're willing to get out and find some information. I don't know where they posted their link. I'd be curious about that. Like, where did they go? How do we kind of validate? Do we believe these are actual Costco website users or not? And then the questions in general, like, I think people will understand the questions. And they're just, there are small things that I see as kind of like junior designers or junior researchers going through and learning, like, how do you craft good questions? Like, for example, I see question marks in some of them and I don't in others, which I don't know if it's a SurveyMonkey thing that they're not displaying something or if they just forgot question marks, right? The options, the buckets that they use are not very well defined, right? What does rarely mean? The challenge and problem with labels like these is they mean different things. They're ambiguous, so they can be interpreted differently by different people. So when you ask this question, right, how often do you use the Costco website? That's number one. That's kind of it's a bit of an open-ended question, because it could be, well, I used it a lot last year and I haven't used it this year. We're only 2 months into the year. Like, what do I say? And there's all these like challenges. A more scoped question could be something like, in the past month, how often have you shopped using the Costco website? Because there's another thing, there's more ambiguous things. Do you use the Costco website? Like, maybe there are other uses for the Costco website than shopping. So I think there's missed opportunities here. But yeah, like Kyle is suggesting, quantitative buckets, right? So let's say we have the question, last month, or within the last 3 to 4 weeks, how often did you visit the Costco website to shop for something, right? And like Kyle's saying, we could be more specific, saying like 0, didn't visit the website in the past 3 or 4 weeks. 1 to 2 times, 3 to 4 times, 5 or more times, right? That's very clear and it's not ambiguous, because someone might say 5 or more times is rarely, right? Who knows? Maybe they're like, well, I don't do it every day, so and I only did it, in the past 4 weeks. I only did it like once a week. That's pretty rare, right? So that's one of the challenges here. And there are other questions like, what's your age? More like, how old are you, right? What's a common question format for that? I do like these buckets make sense. I don't know if the participants generated this list or if this was like a SurveyMonkey default. I will call it something that a mistake that I see sometimes. It's not here, so I'm going to call out what's strong here, is that there's no overlap, right? 18 to 24, it's not 18 to 25, 25 to 35, 35 to 45, 45 to 55, 55, where you have some split. Be careful that you're not doing that when you're coming up with those buckets. So these look like, fine buckets. What do you usually order from Costco? This one, it seems like maybe the way that SurveyMonkey displays these doesn't provide the entire list, because I find it, it's possible, right? It's possible that all of the survey participants go to Costco's website to buy electronics, but it seems like I would expect there to be different answers, basically. But it is a very small sample size. Do you usually shop during online sales and offers? So this question, I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to learn by this. Like, are there always online sales and offers happening, right? Maybe people shop and they notice there's a sale going on. They don't buy anything that's on sale. The sale didn't influence them anyway, but it seems like every time there's a sale or offer, right? So I wonder if they're trying to understand if online sales and offers motivate people to shop. I wonder if the question is, do you only shop when there's an online sale or special online offer, right? That might be a more interesting question. Like, is that something that is a requirement for some users to shop? Another one, just general feedback. Like, if you're asking things that are yes and no, I guarantee you there is a better question or better answer set that you can be using. In general, when we're asking these kind of surveys, there's never a time where yes or no is better than an alternative. I'll use this one for example. Do you easily find the product you're looking for? Yes or no? Well, okay. No can signal there's a problem. What we're missing out on the opportunity is to add some color to that. How much of a problem is it? How difficult was it? How easily? So often what you'll see in people who are doing research without a lot of experience, and I did the same thing when I was starting out. These are, just kind of like rookie mistakes or things that you learn as you experience them, especially in like interviews. Like someone might ask, do you easily find the product you're looking for? And the person will say yes, or they'll say no, and they'll be like, oh, how difficult is it for you? Or if they say yes, how easy was it for you? So they had to ask two questions, but really you can do the work in a single question. So for example, how easy or difficult is it to find products you're looking for? Then you can have a scale, right? Extremely difficult on one end, extremely easy on the other, with 5 or 7 steps, some odd step bucket, so that there is a middle ground for people to pick. Then you'll have a better sense of if it was very easy, somewhat easy, a little difficult, somewhat difficult, super difficult. How do I get out? Okay, I'm out. All right. Hopefully that was a little helpful in talking about surveys. It's great that they did it, right? And they got some responses and they can use that to inform their decisions. Here's an example. I should just scroll down. I didn't see this at first. So here's an example of something that's better than yes or no, right? So they actually used a pattern that's stronger than a pattern they used previously. So it would be great if they can use this pattern more consistently, right? MPS, MPS is really not that useful as a tool. So in general, I'd recommend just avoiding asking this question. If you want people to do something, like ask them to sign up for something, ask them to buy something, cool. But in general, I would just say skip this. You'll save the users some time. They also asked a general question. I'll just make a quick comment here. Like, do you have any other comments, questions, or concerns? This is super general. I find that I get more useful feedback if I say something that's a little bit more focused. Like, is there anything else? Is there anything else you want us to know about the Costco online shopping experience? Something like that. Right. Great. All right. Then it looks like, boom, they did some field research, which is pretty awesome. I think they really went kind of above and beyond in like exploring and collecting data. So this is fantastic. Went to Costco to interview folks, right? I think Costco is actually a really kind of convenient place for this because they have like the food section with some tables where people are like just hanging out, like eating something, where they're kind of passive. You can approach them, similar to a coffee shop where people might be sitting alone. You might be able to approach them and ask a question. So we've got that there. They've got links to interview reports. Persona, I think this is interesting. My big question is like, why do this? I ask this for like every persona. It's like one of my pet peeves. I'm not against investing in user personas. But what I see is oftentimes they're either like poorly done or just not necessary. Like some designer spent time creating the user persona and then you never hear about it or it's never used. So it just feels like a waste of time. So I'm just going to skip that. I'm not going to say anything about that. Stage 2, then they went into gathering all the feedback they have, identifying, prioritizing pain points, doing some affinity mapping. Cool. Look at those sticky notes getting sorted out. The behaviors, attitudes, needs, and goals. Cool. That stuff sounds good. This kind of fidelity, right? These simple images here with a fabulous caption of telling me why you're showing me this thing and what's going on is great. Love it. Then they're going into problem and solution statements. So this is interesting. So it's kind of wordy. Let's see if we can like narrow it down really quick. Costco is known for enjoyable in-store shopping, blah, blah, blah. Most customers are spending time in offline shopping rather than online. Hence, the website is failing to provide its value to the customer experience. Okay, maybe. I mean, I'm not totally convinced by the language as it is, right? If Costco is known for its enjoyable in-store shopping experience, then how do you know most customers prefer spending their time shopping online? I think this actually means online. Wait. However, most customers prefer spending time in offline shopping rather than online. So I'm super confused now reading through this. It seems like it's just repeating the same point. Like, Costco has great in-store shopping experience. Therefore, the website's failing to provide value. I don't know that that's true exactly. I think if I dig into this and like try to put myself in the shoes of Hertika or Niharika, I think the point they're trying to make is basically there's an opportunity, right? There's a missed opportunity to provide as enjoyable of an experience for online shopping as they deliver in their brick and mortar stores. If I had to kind of take the essence of this and reframe it, I think that's what the focus I would put is that, hey, great, you're doing a great job with your brick and mortar stores. There's a lot of people who like shopping online, but your online shopping experience is not good or worse than your in-store shopping experience. So big opportunity. User perspective, one such problem is ability to search for products. So yeah, if search is no good, that's going to be a big problem. If there's a lack of product details, so that they can't make, if they can't feel smart and confident about their decisions, then they're probably not going to place the order, right? Solution statements: Costco customers love to buy product on sale. As the human brain gets artificially influenced. I don't know. There's some kind of weird language going on here. So this is also another great thing. Kind of piece of advice. Try to find a real objective person to read through anything that you write. They're going to be able to come back and be like, oh, what is this? This is really weird. Like talking about human brains. Like, why would we be talking about we're not talking about anyone other than humans. Like Costco customers, 100% of them are human, right? I don't believe there's any other species on Earth that has gone into Costco and purchased something. Not saying that they're not capable of doing that, but I don't believe that's who we think of when we think of Costco customers. So I think I guess part of my question is like, why reiterate this stuff here? And if you do want to focus on these things, come up with a really simple single sentence to capture the problem and solution strategies that you're focused on. Okay, then they went to ideating. They came up with some user stories. As a user, I want to search for a product quickly across the available department categories on a Costco platform. Interesting. Like the format is like so-so, right? It's great that they're exercising and practicing writing user stories. Writing user stories is not super easy. It's not super easy or straightforward. So the fact that they're investing and practicing in this, I think is fantastic. So the format, let's see if I can, I'm going to open up my Hemingway editor, which you might have seen me use before. I love this tool. Notice it gets flagged as hard to read because it's so long. So I'll share a little bit about the format of user stories that I'm most familiar with. So as someone, as the user, customer, I think customer is probably even more appropriate in this aspect. I want this ability so that I can achieve this goal. At a high level, this is kind of the three pieces, like identifying the specific customer, identifying the ability or feature request, right? So that they can achieve some goal, right? So if I was asked, hey, Adam, how would you improve, how might you write this user story for search in this format? I would say, well, I would start out by, as an online Costco shopper, maybe I'd do that. And it's really not, I want the ability to search for a product by keyword across all department categories so that I don't need to know the specific category. So I don't have to waste time. This is going to be a long sentence. So these user stories, I guess, lesson learned are not necessarily that short. I think it's really just search across all department categories at once. Finding out which category an item is in. Cool. This can be improved, but hopefully you get the point, right? So it's really about what do they want, what's the ability or feature, and then why does it matter, right? They don't want to waste time. They want to get their shopping done quickly, right? Okay. As a user, I want to view all product options with easy sort and filter functionalities. So I think this is a thing, like, these could be split up to something higher level or even more granular. Like, I want to sort product options by price, right? I want to filter product options by price. Maybe I want to sort or filter product options by price so that I can easily identify the least expensive option, right? That would be an example user story. So they've got a lot they're kind of taking on. Then they go into customer journey mapping. Where did this information come from? I think this is part of it that's missing. Probably some of their own experience, which I think is actually a good idea for taking on a kind of project. Hey, Peleg. Welcome, welcome. When you are scratching your own itch or you have firsthand experience of an issue or problem, it's often even easier to develop empathy, and you can also bring your own insights to the party, so to speak. So let's take a look at this user journey. I'm always interested in these things. I actually like them quite a bit. Oh no, my hair curler is broken. Need to buy a new one. Costco is where I go to shop. Should I go to the store? Can I do it online? Oh, let me try to do it online. Kyle asks, would I call it UX writing when you're crafting text for questions? You mean for a survey? I think of that as more user research. I don't know. I would love to ask this to a UX writer and see what they say. I suppose. Typically, the first thing I think of when I think of UX writing is more about text that exists in products, in emails, in those kind of communications, things that users will experience as written text. So any of that stuff I tend to associate with what UX writers focus on. Interesting question, though. I don't know the answer. I don't know. Open up the website. Website asks for location. Homepage displayed. Looks clumsy, I guess. The wished products are displayed pleasingly. Blah, blah. So some negative reaction. Types in the search bar. One product is suggested. It says member only item. I'm a member. Signed into the website. What's the point? Interesting. So some awkward things. Kind of annoying. Trying to find the list of products. I type in using categories, click shop all departments, click under each possible section, finally finds a hair curler. Finally, I knew it was there somewhere. Why didn't it show up earlier? Got it. So pretty frustrating. Then finds it, clicks on it, then wants to go back. Uh-oh, can't find the way back. I think this thing is actually, this could benefit from even more of a spotlight. I think this little simple story, this user journey story right here, does a better example of highlighting the problem for Costco and for the user than a lot of the text. So I think this is like another tip. How can you replace text, paragraphs of text and sections of text with simple stories that people can grok and follow? I love this. Then they did some tree sorting. My goodness, they're looking at different parts of the experience. I don't know exactly what's going on here, how this is used, but it looks kind of fancy. What did they find out? Every CTA opens a new branch. So they're constantly going out into different branches, which suggests there are opportunities to improve the navigation hierarchy. All right. And they want to keep the number of branches to a minimum, to 4. Okay. Or wait, I don't know exactly what this means. Minimum number of navigation branches, 4. That means they had to travel through 4 branches before they could find something. Different views depending on where you go. So lack of consistency, which can lead to confusion and potentially distrust, right? Then there's some proposals. To me, this kind of tree is less clear than a sitemap view. Let's just look up sitemap here. So this kind of thing, right? Home, about, blah, blah, blah. This format, this kind of standard sitemap format, for me, is a lot easier to grok than this diagram. So that would be one suggestion, is can you visualize this in a way that's a little bit easier to grok and understand that this is essentially a sitemap in this kind of tree sorting context, because that's going to be a lot easier to compare. I mean, to me, both of these things look complex, fairly complex. Like, I don't see a huge difference, but I bet if they made a sitemap view, that it would be even more obvious. Excuse me. Touch the face. Don't touch the face, everyone. Peleg asks, what does grokking mean? Thank you for asking, Peleg. I use that term quite a bit, so I would love for everyone to understand what I'm saying. So, grok, I think it comes from like engineering world, but it's semi-common Silicon Valley tech jargon, and it means to understand quickly or instantly. So if you look at something, you take a glance and you understand it. I get it. You've grokked it, right? It's so easy to understand. It just requires a glance. You don't need to like do any reading, read a FAQ. You just grok it. I'm curious. Grok definition. Understand something intuitively or by empathy. Because of all the commercials, children grok things immediately. Okay. Intuitively or by empathy, to me, is a little bit slightly different than like instantly or quickly. But yeah, the main thing is just understanding, right? Understanding instantly or understanding quickly. Grokking. Now your challenge, Peleg, is to go out and look for an opportunity to use the word grok and spread the use. All right. Similar to conveyance. Interesting. So now I'm like, conveyance. That's one that I haven't used. Oh, look at this. I feel like Google search gets increasingly more awesome every time I use it. So I feel like recently the search box changed a little bit. At least I feel like I never noticed these rounded corners before. So you start typing in and then you get this really rounded corner box. But I love this, actually putting the definition. Transporting someone, so kind of like an idea. There we go. Nice. All right. Let's continue on. Again, if you're joining us, we are reviewing the winning entry of UX Design Contest number 12. Each CTA opens up a new branch. So that seems to be the same. So I don't know what's proposing. I don't know why their proposal is the same as the findings. Why would you list that if it's exactly the same? I don't know. Refining the navigation hierarchy. Little typo there. Again, these are things that are going to be a lot easier if you leverage text instead of images for your case studies. Your operating system is going to flag typos, right? So then you can go fix them and you don't have this typo hard-coded into an image. It also just lets you change things and be even more flexible. So I think that's the real power of Notion. Like, stick to images, like this kind of thing. Actually, this could actually be a table. This could be a Notion table right here. So I think maybe one other tip that I would give, like using this case study as inspiration, think about how you can use Notion to push and actually create these things directly inside Notion, because that makes it even more powerful. Minimum number of navigation branches 3, so I guess they reduced the amount of steps to get to a goal, right? And then I think they're missing a word here, like a single view for a product. So I think another thing too, to keep in context as I'm going through all this and like talking about things that I like and doing a little bit of like critical review and nitpicking, is that this is 2 people's like side project work within 2 weeks. Like this is really a huge amount of work. And that's another reason why it was clearly the winner. Like the complexity and difficulty in the tasks that they took on is huge. Okay, and then they've got some user flows. Current user flow for setting up zip code, your zip delivery code. Great, they made some improvements there. Maybe, yeah, current versus proposed, right? This one you can grok pretty well. Like this looks way bigger and more complex than this. Cool. I expect this looks like it's improved. Great. They do this with a few different ones. Again, these might be things where toggles can come into play. Notion's toggles, where you can say, hey, do you want to see the diagram? Like, we improved the user flow for setting up your zip code. We improved the user flow for finding a washing machine with offers and discount prices. Okay, then they went into prototyping some things with different designs. Here's a place where they use toggles fairly nicely. They talk about design challenges. I'd say something that can push this even further. Instead of just saying design challenge 1, which is really a black box, it's like, what could it be? You could actually talk about this, right? The challenge. So user design challenge 1, user onboarding. Boom. Pull that out into the subject line or into this kind of toggle heading so that people know what's going on. Design challenge 2, improving user search and navigation. Design challenge 3, updating product page experience. Product page and filtering experience. That's really going to be helpful because when people are going through case studies, they might not be interested in everything you're doing, but by helping them understand what were some of the things you focused on, maybe search is a big thing that I'm thinking about today, and I'll be like, oh, I really want to see how they tackled the search project. And I am interested in search. I'm not working on a search project necessarily, but I'm curious about this one. So let's see what they did. They talked about this. In fact, these like little challenges could benefit from some simple case study structure. Really, you want to say like, cool, what's the problem with search and navigation? Design problem, artifacts and highlights. So this is where they're starting to do it, right? The below image talks about the problem. So it's hard to see, like I got to zoom in a lot. This is just yet another, like, I'm going to keep hammering it home. Like if you have text in images, like work really hard to pull that text out and just have it in your document. It's going to make the experience for your audience and the reader significantly better. The search shows some results at the top. but doesn't mention that these are recent or top searches. Okay, so it's kind of confusing why these things are there. Like, are these ads? Were these promoted? The user might not know if there are more items related to the search text. Okay, so yeah, they typed in washing machine. There's 4 text options, and then there are 3, I don't know if it's cropped off if there are more, but it looks like there are only 3 product offerings. So it may be confusing, like, oh, does Costco only sell 3 washing machines? Like, is this it? Okay, I get that. There's much in-depth navigation. User has to go through multiple clicks to search for a product category. Got it. So, well, I'm a little confused. Is this browsing or clicking? Is this browsing or searching? I'm not totally sure. It seems like you shouldn't need to know all of these categories if you're searching for something. If you're browsing, then having the different categories, I think, makes sense. But maybe there's still maybe there are still categories that could simplify this. Like, maybe you could reduce the list by saying something like kitchen appliances, right? Like, is a microwave a small space appliance? Is it a kitchen appliance package? Kind of, right? All right. So then they started thinking about solutions. So they started thinking about search. They type in curler, and they're providing, I wonder why they provide so many different results. A list of products by brand or by category. I guess, yeah, like curling machine, curling stands. Maybe they're using Word and they want to make sure that there are some related products that people use. But even here, like, making a larger example would be helpful. Even zooming in, it's hard for me to see what's going on here. Search appliances, curler, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, we don't have curler, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you, like, if it recognized curler, why doesn't it still recognize curler? Why does it fail? Why do you propose failing when you add some text? That seems not so great. And I don't understand. Then they delete the text and then suddenly things show up. I also I'm not understanding, are these different variations? Is this like concept A, concept B, concept C? It's not clear to me what these are. Maybe this talks about them here. So there are numbers. Again, if you're using numbers, like, this is a fantastic, I think this is all one image, which makes it really challenging to break down. So a stronger pattern would be to use Notion, right? Write in the text, put the image that's related with the search with auto design complete right near the text. Now you have the proximity, then it's clear. This makes it really difficult to understand what's going on. You have to keep going back and forth. I'm just not going to read it. I'm going to skip it. I say, like, okay, there are like some interesting things, but nothing like, it looks like the out of stock notice. Maybe there's some things that I didn't see before that look like they could be helpful. I don't know. Does highlighting the thing that is not the thing you typed in red, is that helpful? Is the text size easy to read? Like, why are there so many things? There's a lot of questions I have. But in general, something I love is that there are different variations, right? Search with autocomplete, search with no results, search with search result, grouping. So different strategies that they applied to come up with some different ideas. Yes, so the link to this use case, Peleg, as soon as I review it, let's update the website so that you can find it. So we'll do that right after we finish going through this. All right, then of course, is validating and testing. So made some prototypes, had some designs, went through. They used Usability Hub, which I recommend. Fantastic tool. They do have text here and linked it. By the way, how are they doing this? I don't remember seeing this style of text in Notion. I guess you can change the font, which is pretty cool. So first they did a click test. Where would you click to add the item to the cart? Okay, great. Like testing and important information. Why did they choose to test this though? It's like a question I have. So anytime you can provide information about how you designed your test and made the decisions you did is going to be helpful for a hiring manager or reviewer, right? Clicking add to cart, great. Like it's super critical. So I can see the importance and value in that. However, like, did they have information that it was difficult to find the add item to cart button previously and they've really improved on that? Or is there something that's even more valuable? Like I thought they had talked about like some pricing things. Yeah. And interestingly, I'm guessing this is the new pattern, right? It actually uses some. There's not really a clear call to action. I mean, there is the little cart icon, so I can figure it out, but it's not a very strong call to action, which is interesting. And I think it kind of makes sense. I mean, yes, you've got the huge hotspot here, but look at all the other stuff that people are clicking on. Like, is this really convincing about that people found the add to cart? I think one of the challenges is the question is too vague. Where would you click to add the item to the cart? Well, which item? Like one person could click here, the next participant here. Like if every participant clicked on a different add to cart thing, it would appear to be a heat map fail, right? Even though they could have had a task success. So again, I think these are the kinds of things that is so valuable to do this because you learn by doing stuff. You learn and you remember better when you make a mistake and you can iterate it on the next time. So the thing that I would encourage the two women who did this case study is be very specific, right? If you want to do a click test and measure by heat map, make sure you're getting everyone to click in the same spot. So that would be something like, where would you click to add the GE 4.5 cubic foot front load washer with steam to your cart, right? That would be the task. Then it kind of tests, hey, can they find that washer? And can they add it to the cart? What's the other thing? I don't know what this other is also. Navigation test. They're calling it a success. Find a product LG Wi-Fi enabled steam clothing care system from Costco department stores. A little typo there. Appliance, washer, and dryer. Okay. A third of them roughly completed all the steps in 21 seconds. So that means that some people failed, right? Like the majority of people failed the tests, or was it that everyone was successful and 36 did it in a short amount of time? It's unclear. So this one's raises a red flag to me. So if you're talking about success, make sure you explain and can provide evidence for how it's a success or why it's a success, right? This information doesn't necessarily, to me, communicate success. Then they also talked about a preference test for this product page. And it looks like they're pretty honest with this and say, hey, still need improvement. The current product page had roughly 45% of participants saying they preferred that one, which helps them review products faster. I think process is a little bit of an awkward verb. So maybe something like, which design helps you scan through products faster, or even could be as simple for preference test. It's basically like, which design do you want to use for your shopping experience? Which design would you rather use for shopping? Something as simple as that. Right? They talked about that this test is doing better. It's not statistically significant. There's not enough of a difference, right? 5 people voted for this one, 6 people voted for another. You do a few more tests, could swing the other way, right? You don't know. So I think it's honest to flag this as still needs improvement. There's still opportunities for improvement. And additional testing would really be required to figure out why. Like, why didn't this one perform so well? What was it about this other one that people liked? And then they even went further. Whoa! They went through and reiterated after doing some of the testing. They started making some changes. Boom. All right. And then to wrap it up, they talked about some future things to do, like the kind of final part of the checkout flow. So after people have added things to their cart and they're checking out, they also talked about getting emails and notification, right? Which maybe is not happening now. It sounds like there's maybe no like online chat or online support for their website. I find that kind of hard to believe, but go look. Yeah, it's a ton of work. And what were some of the things they learned? They only did 3 tests due to the limits of their testing platform. So basically, like, what's the takeaway here? They want to do, it's valuable to do comparisons between old and new designs. Make sure you budget appropriately for that. I will call out one thing, like for Usability Hub, like you can do pretty much everything for free to start out, and you can use your own audience. So there's always the free bring your own audience option. The only time you're really paying for things is if you want really fast results and you're using their platform of people who will be eligible to do the tests. They compromise on the size of product images on the category page. This had an effect on users' ability to scan the products and read the descriptions. So in the end, they went with the old design. So, okay, cool. So you kind of learned something that you did that didn't have the desired effect. Peleg's commenting on the names, like the character width turns out exactly the same. That's interesting. I hadn't really noticed that before, but yeah, like super symmetry. That's pretty amazing. So from the case study, it really helped them understand the importance of like investing in user experience for e-commerce sites, right? Talked about how online sales can really affect the business, and eased out usability increases. I don't understand what that means, but great. I think their takeaway is basically like, wow, online sales are important, and look at through this case study, we can see there are some like potential low-hanging fruit, and by making investments in user experience, you can have a huge business impact and customer experience impact as well. So I think those are good takeaways. All right, one more big round of claps. Claps in chat. Hertika, Bomik, and Niharika Indavara, congratulations for your epic entry into UX Design Contest 12. I hope you had fun. And now we should post this on the website so that it's there for posterity. Yeah? Let's do it. I actually have things pretty much lined up. So I think all I need to do is remove some comments. Wait a minute. Actually, I have this part ready. I'll bring it up on the screen. Cool, so here's their little post. This is for the context page. For index, I need to uncomment this and remove this and save it. And I think that's it. And then we go over to GitHub, 12 and index. So let's see. This introduces the winning entry. Yes. Has the congratulations. Looks good. And then the index. Wait a minute. We remove this and okay, yeah, looks good. Okay. Launch. Public launch of public launch for UXDC 12 winner announcement. Okay, boom, push it. And then the funny thing is it like probably won't refresh right away. Usually I have to post another thing. So let me remove this. Call it cleanup. And then we can push this. Removed, commented out section. Push it. And now when I push it now, I think it'll be updated and we can check it out. So let's see. Boom, there we go. All right, we've got winning entry. We've got their case study there. And now you can link to it. So now, Peleg, I think you're asking for the link earlier. All right, Aaron, thanks for the claps. All right. Good job, audience. Good job with the claps. Love the claps. And then I used Pablo Stanley's Open Peeps and I made little illustrated versions of the winners and added some of their links and stuff. So this will be the new pattern. By the way, huge plug to Lisa Timonova. She's the first official volunteer of UX Design Contest, and I still need to work on the volunteer website so I can really give her some big kudos and thanks. So I think that's what we'll work on next. But yeah, she was working on the design for this kind of winner showcase. So her work really pushed things forward and made it relatively easy for me to execute on this. So that's great. And then we should also see, if we go down to past contacts, great. We see it here and we've got the link. Nice. All right. Great job. Cool. Now, start thinking about the next contest. Whew. I plan to do some thinking about it and announce sometime this month. TBD. I wonder if people have more or less time to participate in a contest now that the coronavirus, COVID-19, is really having an increasingly big impact in keeping people at home more. Quick question, chat. If this winning entry section appears so close to the top, how valuable is it to keep this like contest ended little call out? Is it helpful? What's your take? I started by having this call out just to make sure that people knew that this contest wasn't live, right? So every past contest that's on the website has this little call out. And now I'm starting to think, is it necessary? Is it still helpful? Maybe. It does set context of like when this happened, right? There's nothing else here that really tells when this happened. I suppose I could think about, that's maybe the question is, can I think about a pattern to just flag the dates? Then I don't need to have the call out. Aaron's right on it. All right. Great minds think alike. I like Aaron's suggestion, right? Add the month and the year. So figure out a way to just add that context, and then I don't need to call it. I think, yeah, there's probably like a small window where this thing might be helpful, right? Like for X number of days, maybe a week after the contest ends, but it probably has an expiration, right? And where that just date can be more helpful. All right, I'll put that in my mental bank for now. All right, what did I say I was gonna do? We've got about half an hour left. I guess the first thing I'll do is just check in. Like, I know I was really focused on reviewing and sharing the awesome entry to the contest. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to talk about from chat? I'm happy to do that. And if there are no questions right now, if anything pops up, you can always hit me up in chat. Otherwise, I'll kind of turn my attention to thinking about the volunteer site. Kyle's got a question. How essential is HTML and CSS as a product designer? That's a great question. Let me see if I can show you something. Let's see here. I'm gonna do it off camera. I'm just opening up a website because I just wanna. I'm looking at some things that I did for work where I used HTML, CSS, and sometimes even JavaScript to do things as my work, and I just want to double check. I'm pretty sure there's no private information, but I just want to double check before I share it. So let me take a look. Spinner animation, activity card, opacity pulse, links. Yeah, there are definitely a few things I can show easily. Let me check out this one. Let me just change something real quick on this one because I'd like to share this one. Okay, I think I can do it. Cool. All right, I'm gonna bring up a site here, and didn't know if you copy paste the title of the notion, it will copy the whole notion. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that either, Peleg. That's a cool shortcut. Oh, I will share one other cool Notion link tip. So I'll bring up Hemingway again just to show. So here's the Notion link. If you replace this HTTPS with Notion, this link, if you have Notion desktop app, it'll actually launch in the desktop app. You can test it if you want. I'll put the link right in chat with the Notion. So it's kind of fun. So if you want to send it to someone where they can open directly in their desktop app and not in a web page, you can replace the HTTP or HTTPS with Notion. So, a little fun fact there. I learned that this week, so it's helpful if I can share those things because it helps me remember better. All right. And Kyle's question, I would say understanding HTML and CSS, if you're designing things for the web, is very important and extremely helpful. And just to point out like how helpful it is, I'll show a few things that I have done. A few things that I've done, right? Where I want to show interactions. And I want to show, here's what it looks like to focus through these things. Right? Just using keyboard. Here's what the hover states look like. Boom. Here's links, different types of links. I want to show these different links, how they work. I want to show how they work on focus. I want to show, hey, when this thing is loading, like, what does the animation look like? I want to show different kinds of states and like interaction effects. So those are, that's just a little taste of like stuff that I've done as part of my job as a product designer. I find it helps. Oh, another thing it really helps with is designing in the browser, right? So I remember something that I called out, a knit, right? So here I can say like, how come there's not much space between the icon and the text? Did I like forget to make a space? And even like, what does it look like with a space? So you can go in, oops, I'm not showing what I'm doing. That would be helpful. So if you're familiar with the DOM and HTML, you can do things. You can modify this. I mean, I'm just doing really simple things right now. Like I'm inserting a space. Right, and cool, that's what I want to do. I should actually do this update before I forget about it because it's going to drive me nuts. But you could do things like, like, what if this were bigger? Like, would that be easier? Well, let's see. I can go up to, I don't know, what is this, extra large? Let's just try this. Just add, change number to these classes. Okay, that's bigger. And then this one will have to be smaller. Is that friendlier? Is that better? I don't know. Maybe this needs more context. Like it the way it was. But it also enables you to feel more comfortable going in and, editing things. Like let's say, I don't know, you can mess around with this CSS and you kind of understand what's going on. Margin bottom 1.5 rems. Okay. So let's say I also want to, I don't know, something we can do here. How would this look with a background color, right? Background color, honeydew. That's sounds like a delicious color. How would that look? Oh, okay, I can kind of check that stuff out. All right. Anyways, so yeah, if you are a product designer for web products, I'd say one of the first things I'd recommend investing in is understanding HTML and CSS to a level that helps you like communicate better and faster, right? It's really an investment in helping you to be able to have a bigger impact faster. There's tons of books. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of courses. Like I just kind of I've learned things as I've gone along. I don't there's stuff about CSS I don't get still, right? But it's just a matter of like being exposed to it and just playing around with it, really. All right, let's fix that thing on the... Is it only on the index page that it asked this? Let's see. Yeah, it is. Okay. Great. That means I only have one page to fix. That makes it helpful. Sponsor. Wait a minute. Why is it... I'm confused because I'm seeing something that doesn't... map to... Oh, I see. This is at the very bottom. I know what this is. There's different options. There it is. Here's what I'm looking for. This is the navigation. See? Even I can get lost in this simple document. Cool. I added the space. And let's push it. Formatting tweaks to navigation links with emoji. Boom, boom. Cool. So that'll get updated in a few minutes. Let's take a look and think about volunteers. I want to celebrate and highlight volunteers. Yeah, I love the peeps thing. I got it going on here too. Like I made a little Pablo. It's kind of how he looks. I feel like this is kind of his current look. A little bit. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I feel sometimes it's challenging to fit real people into the molds, but it's pretty fun. And that's why I thought it was fun to do the... I'll be curious to hear from the contest winners, the recent contest winners. How do they like these? Like, are they like, no, that doesn't look anything like me, that's ridiculous? Or are they like, oh yeah, okay, cool. We'll see. I had fun. It's kind of a challenge, but I like that there are constraints as well, so there's not too many options that I can do. Originally my idea is to like this, where you hover over. I don't think I can focus. It's not accessible. It's really just kind of add-on, which is kind of sad. Should think about making that, figuring out what to do with that. Would be to do like every instance of that, like have something happen on hover, have something change. Could be kind of fun, huh? Anywho, let's talk about volunteers. So I'm going to pull up, I believe I asked Lisa some questions about oh yeah, we have this huge long thread going on. Okay. Okay, cool. I have a little bit of an open slate. Maybe you can help me brainstorm some of the stuff. Actually, you know, I just hear the garage door, so it may be time to prepare dinner for my wife. But we'll see. I told her I was going to be streaming, so if she doesn't knock on the door, I think we're good to go till 8. So I'm going to open up a sketch file with what? Let's just do... Actually, let's highlight a different tool real quick. Let's kick the tires on doing some whimsical wireframing. Oops, not sign in. There's Ralph. I didn't see Ralph today. I hope he's doing well in New York. All right, so let's just, I don't know, move this over here somewhere. Let's create a window. And can you paste images? I'm curious to know if I can paste an image. Oh yeah, you can. That's cool. Great. Just to think about, okay, I've got kind of content, some content buckets and ideas. By the way, is that refreshed yet? Sweet. Oh yeah, it looks so much better. That was gonna bug me. All right, so what's our goal? What's the outcome we want to have in the next 15-20 minutes? We want, I'm just gonna type this stuff out here. I'll make it really big. Let me know if the zoom level is sufficient. Okay, this is UX design contest volunteers page. Great. And what kinds of things do we want on the page? We're going to have an illustration. We're going to have volunteer profiles. I'd like to have a blurb. Intro into what volunteering means. Free XDC. Like maybe like a little note. This is like, hey, volunteers are important, blah, blah, blah. A link to apply to be a volunteer, maybe. I've got a bunch of applications I still need to process. We'll put that as optional. The main thing I want to do is volunteer profile. So this is what we'll focus on. So volunteer profile. Oh no. I totally lost. Can I redo? Whoa, I stepped like too many steps back and now I lost my text. Oh, that sucks. All right, do it again. UCC volunteer page. Blurb about volunteering. Volunteer profiles. Okay. Important things. What I was trying to do is press tab. Oh, I see. Tab. Tab was not a good idea. Okay. All right then. I'll do 2 hyphens. Peleg, thank you so much for tuning in. It was good to see you. Have a fantastic week. Hope to see you next time. Have a good night. Volunteer profiles. A profile, an illustration, right? The volunteer name will be important. Illustration. I'd love bio. Like, what's Twitter's character? 160. That was like their old character limit, right? What's Twitter's new character limit? Is it 240? Twitter character limit 280. Okay, so it was 140. Cool. So let's say less than or equal to 300 characters. Ooh, I can plug my little character counter, quick count. Send volunteers a link to quick count. Okay, and then portfolio link, social links. Could be LinkedIn. I'd love to get them to do AngelList. I'll promote that. AngelList, LinkedIn, Dribble, CodePen, GitHub, etc. Twitter. All right. Oh, interesting. It gets lost. Cool. Let's wrap this stuff. What else? How about a fun fact? Something really interesting that you might not know about the person. And should I include my testimonial? My plan is to write a testimonial for each volunteer that they can put on their LinkedIn. It might be fun to have that testimonial here as well. So how about Adam's testimonial? And is there anything else? Volunteer name, illustration, bio, the links, fun fact, testimonial. Oh, maybe the concept of like volunteer, just when they volunteered. Q1 2020. In which quarter? The quarter, month in which they volunteered. So great. That could be helpful as well. See how recent it is. Yeah, I think that's a good amount of information. So let's take this and let's just kind of start mocking up the page. So I think the first thing I'm going to think about getting some rectangles going here. Does it make sense to have side navigation? I think the answer is yes. I think we can do things like, I'll just start stubbing this out. UX design contest. Okay, that goes up there. And then it'll be like volunteers. Maybe current volunteers. Current volunteers. Past volunteers. And apply to volunteer. Cool. Is there anything else I'd want to do? Maybe a pitch, like sponsor volunteer. Maybe. All right. So let's group this. I don't think that grouped with this thing. There we go. Cool. So we got a little sidebar navigation. Oh, that's some weird stuff going on. What's going on here? I guess I duplicated more than I expected. Great. And then we can have, I think it'll follow the same pattern, right? So I basically have navigation and I create a card for each section. So then I would have, in this case, only have past volunteers. So let's just mock this up real quick. Past volunteers. And then I'll start stubbing out some of the things I talked about. Volunteer name. Guess we'll make this even bigger. Come on, why can't I select it? What's going on? I'm like locked out of selection. I don't know what's happening. Did it save? Command S. Try reloading. Alright, now it seems to be working. Let's go large. And then we'll add a name. I'll just do real generic for now. Can I lock this thing? Lock. Lock. I'm not going to accidentally be moving this thing around. Let's lock this too. Great. Okay, and then there's going to be illustration. I think I'll use a circle for that. Oh, nice to have this avatar thing here. Cool, so we'll have that. I'll figure out how to put all this stuff together. It's going to be a short bio, 300 characters. So should we get some lipsum? Some lorem ipsum. Can use my character counter. 717. 327. 230. Let's pull out this. Nice. Okay, cool. There's my lipsum that will fit. Ooh, and it's really long. Maybe this is small text. So that's the bio. And then what else do we have? We have some social links. We have a fun fact. A fun fact, I'm probably going to want to use a callout pattern, kind of like this green success callout. So I'm just going to really simplify that. Actually, I will use this button. I'm just going to, this is a fun fact callout. All right. And then testimonial, got this thing locked. Let's be bigger. Wow, this is just for one. All right, so I see it's getting pretty heavy. Let's say my testimonial is half as long. And then do I want my, should I have a little tiny avatar by my testimonial? That might be nice. And then a name. Adam Ruff. Creator. UX design contest. And I make this all small, really small. I don't really care about it being too sloppy. I'm gonna make it all nice, either in code or go into Sketch next. Just want to get a sense of layout and things. Okay, and then there's portfolio link and social links. Do I have icons? Oh wow, there's lorem ipsum right from Whimsical. I didn't realize they did that. That's pretty cool. And it'll keep filling up as big as you make it. Oh, that's awesome. All right, cool tip. Use the lorem ipsum generator. Can you access it through a normal text thing? You can't. That's a bummer. It would be nice to have that on every text element. I want to look for icons. Icon. No? Really? I swear there's something. Oh, they're here. X. Twitter. Boom. X. What else did I say? AngelList. Nice. They have it. Kudos. X. LinkedIn. Okay, and then maybe an icon for like globe. Maybe. I don't know. Do you think there should? Does this mean portfolio, or should it say portfolio? Is there another icon that means website? Maybe just a more globy looking globe. I don't know if that's super globy. It kind of looks like a Yoshi egg or something. But, alright. And then can I reduce the size of all these? No, that doesn't do anything. Okey-dokey. Come on. All right. Make these little things tiny and group them together. Figure out a way to put this together. So, what did I do for the... I'm gonna look at the winner section. Let's give me some idea. So I could align. Okay, so that's basically interesting. Have the links after. All right, let's play with that. Link, bio. Let's actually group this together. This will be, oh, come on. Stop, how do I get out of the, how do I get out of, come on, just do something. Ah, I'm stuck in this magnifying glass. I don't know how to get out. I literally have to refresh the page. Alright. Some things about Whimsical super nice, others not. It's probably why it's not like a real primary tool. But for this kind of wireframing, it's still pretty nice, huh? Cool. I think this will be the framework to call out, and then a testimonial. I wonder. Okay, and then I just have a dividing line. Is there a divider? Yes. So put a divider there, and then all this stuff. Group, group, group. All in one group. And then have another volunteer. Unlock this. Is that reasonable? Yeah. Yes, this could be current volunteers. Any current volunteers? Yeah, I'm not going to have a ton of volunteers. Having volunteers takes time too. Supporting them, making sure they have everything. Okay, cool. I think this is great. This will be, I'm going to export this. Going to copy the image. Only the selection. To exit. Copy the image. And then I'm going to move it into Sketch. And then I got to sign out. So I may work on it more next week. We'll see. All right, so there it is. This is the file save as volunteers page wireframe. Great. All right, that'll be great to get that set up as well. Awesome. Alrighty. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, celebrating our winners, Ritika and Niharika, on their entry, and with the good questions and all the good stuff. So if you're working from home, good luck getting everything situated, set up so that you are comfortable working and feeling productive. And I will hope to see you next week, where we will pick up some new topics. Plan to do a bit more of inspecting new things that have come out and reviewing some of those things, as well as making progress on any of these little projects that I'm working on. Until then, have a fantastic evening and weekend, and happy designing.